Welcome to the Vessel Online. I'm Kalen Markstrom. Our movie today has heroics, travel, and acting? Let's jump on that review train that is Movie Moment with Austin Clemen.
I'm Austin Clemen, and this is USF's Movie Moment. Today, we're going to discuss the movie, The 1517 to Paris. Now, this is a movie about an event that was almost a tragedy. The event occurred in 2015 and is the story of three Americans traveling through Europe who stopped a man with over 300 rounds of ammunition from shooting up a train bound for Paris. Had they not been on board, the event most likely would have become the big terrorist attack it was meant to be.
I don't know, man. You ever just feel like life is just pushing us towards something, like some greater purpose?
This event, however, only lasted a little bit and would have been hard to make an entire movie about solely that event. So Clint Eastwood added bits and pieces from our main three characters' earlier lives, leading us on a journey from when they all met, to when two of them joined different branches of the military, to the Europe trip, and then eventually the big climatic scene. To begin, this movie was a good-intentioned film with a good concept behind it, which included the idea of casting the actual heroes to play themselves. That means that the three Americans we see on film as the heroes are the people who actually lived through this. Now, the coolness factor of that ends right there, as their acting ability leaves much to be desired.
Thank you. Look at the baby soda, Spencer. Alex, shut the heck up.
The way the plot and characters are written feels very pedestrian and isn't helped by the poor acting we get from the three we spend most of the movie with. One of the main characters, he just always says something contrary to what the other two say, and then as soon as the other character that he's talking with is like, no, I think we should do this, he's like, yeah, I agree, we should do that, without even going back in on saying his point. Which makes the whole story and acting feel like it's a middle school play. You could see the actors waiting for the other person to finish a line so that they can start theirs, which isn't supposed to be something you notice, making the magic part of movie magic disappear, because nothing feels real when the acting isn't on point. Even many of the real actors in the movie feel like they've stooped down to the same level of acting as the main characters have, including Jenna Fisher, Judy Greer, and even Bryce Geiser, whom I loved as Julian in Wonder.
Incubator, Bunsen burners. Oh, and this is an eraser.
I will concede, however, that once we finally get to the train and stick with the train, as there are flashes of it at random times in the movie that don't fully go into the scene, but once we get there and finally stick with it, the acting does get better. For the scenes on the train and the ending of the movie, I thought those were directed, filmed, and acted to near perfection, and I did enjoy myself during those moments. That little amount of time, though, isn't near enough to fully redeem the film. The plot really dragged for most of the film, and I kept checking my phone during a lot of parts in it in order to see how much time had passed. Many of the moments that felt like a lot of time had passed because they dragged on so much were really only just a few minutes each, which really shows how drawn out they felt. There are a lot of scenes and moments which just feel awkward even, and it's hard to pinpoint if that's because of the directing, the writing, or the acting. The movie looks basic, nothing fancy goes on in terms of how it was shot cinematography-wise, at least not until the train scene, and then there's one other scene in a military classroom that looked pretty good. But for those moments, it feels like an entirely different person was behind the camera, as it actually feels like more thought was put into the movement and the angles that were shot. I understand the movie is attempting to show the backstory of the characters in order to make me feel for them and create a more impactful climax. The backstory is done so poorly, however, that I end up just wanting the movie to get to the train attack so that way I know that the movie's almost done. In the end, The 1517 to Paris is a movie meant to pay homage to the heroes who thwarted the terrorist attack by including them as the actors who play themselves. But it ends up almost embarrassing them with their acting and detracting from the story by putting in a lot of uncompelling backstory. Personally, because the train attack was done really well actually, I feel like the concept of casting the real people as themselves would have worked a lot better if, rather than a feature film, this was a short film focused on just the train attack that would be put on YouTube or Vimeo and could have gone viral that way and looked at as a genius move by Clint Eastwood if it were done that way. So for those reasons, I will sadly have to shred the ticket. With USF's Movie Moment, I'm Austin Clemen.
The 1517 to Paris overall received less than stellar reviews with only a 25% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an average of 4.2 out of 10. LinkFlow has just announced that the Fit 360, which allows people to record first-person 360-degree videos around your neck, will be releasing in the coming weeks. Its design comes from the wireless earbud bands, but instead of audio, it deals with video. The Fit 360 is mainly worn when you're a tourist or out on a hike to fully capture the environment. With quality as on par with most other 360-degree cameras, the Fit 360 holds the camera steady to smooth out the constant motion. The Fit 360 will cost between $400 and $600. Thanks for joining us today. Come back tomorrow for another news update. For the Best Online, I'm Kalen Markstrom.